My name is Dave Reske, CEO of Now Speed Marketing, and welcome to this edition of Marketing in the Now, where we talk about the best ideas in marketing and digital marketing strategies. And my guest today is Michel Moravia, CEO of Qualiverse, an AI-native vertical SaaS solution for MedTech's QA and RA teams. It streamlines regulatory navigation and accelerates technical documentation submission. Michel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great to hear you. It's great to have you here. And I'm excited about hearing your story and learning more about your business. But I want to ask you, just to get started, what do you like about starting and growing a company?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I'd love to say that really benchmarking and leveraging years of experience is in solving a problem that has unmet needs is where the passion lies. So a little bit about myself, 15 plus years in everything medtech and biopharma. And what I've seen is a big problem, a big data issue for the industry. There are evolving regulation standards that must be met and addressed. And the human mind can't encompass or remember all of these. So we're a bit biased, over-indexed, over-leveraged, if you will. And with the advent of AI, machine learning, I found a sweet spot on how to fix such an issue. And being passionate about it, drawing from experience, has been refreshing.
So it sounds like you really like the problem-solving nature of being an entrepreneur. So some entrepreneurs kind of are like, hey, let's make a lot of money, get rich, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Other
Right.
entrepreneurs are more like, how can I use my management skills to kind of create systems and process? It sounds like you like the idea of like leveraging your skills and experience to solve a big problem that you saw that you can, make a difference in. Is that a good summary?
That is an excellent summary, spot on. And the only thing I'll add is when you bring value, the money follows. The dollars do follow naturally.
That is a good principle in running a startup. Well, let's get into our main topic. You and I have been talking about go-to-market strategies for startups, and as a startup yourself, you've had a lot of experience thinking about this. And what I was impressed about from our earlier conversation was just your a little bit of a unique focusing on distribution channels, whereas a lot of CEOs think about brand strategies or maybe advertising strategies or other ways to create demand, but you thought about a lot about distribution channels. Can you say more about how you think about go to market and creating initial demand for your company and how that's worked for you?
Absolutely. Quite frankly, I believe in this new day and age, distribution channels, when chosen and operated correctly, is the new moat. It provides exclusivity to different customers and things of that nature. Specifically for myself and Q&B, we're in the pursuits of democratizing something that is heavily expensive and quite a nightmare in getting regulatory experts to help you go to market. So instead of spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on pure marketing and branding, we decided to partner with the industry leaders that are in medtech, accelerators, incubators that are trying to spark innovation. And the dividends that we've received from that are quite telling. I spun Q&B out of Accelerator myself, affiliated with MIT C10 Labs. And my initial first customers came organically. We've built trust in giving some free workshops and free ideas, and they were able to see the value. Now it becomes an organic relationship. The same is the case when you partner with a reputable distribution channel, whether it's a PE VC firm that knows the quality of your work, that could make a simple introduction, or it's an accelerator, an incubator that is trying to spark innovation, a law firm. All of this provides credibility and a level of assurance that puts the customer at ease. because trust is the first signal that the customer is looking for to buy.
It seems like that makes a lot of sense as and maybe the most obvious thing to do from a business startup perspective. Why do you think CEOs and entrepreneurs miss that step and they don't focus on the distribution channel where they focus on other maybe sales strategies and marketing strategies when it sounds like when if you can engage the channel with the solution, improve the value there, you're getting your initial customer set, you're getting real market feedback quicker. You're there's so many advantages to the strategy that you're talking about.
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that. But quite frankly, I think it has to do, most individuals do not invest time in strategy, is the answer to that. Most new CEOs, and quite frankly, I've worked at the world's best Fortune 50 companies as well. Strategy is hard. It requires strategic commitment. It requires discipline. The ROI is one to many, but to even set this up takes time to build this type of relationship. You have to give certain things for free at first, workshops and whatnot, and the CEOs might not have the willingness or discipline to see that through its end. Is my observation thus far.
Yeah, so maybe it has something to do with, right, if you're going to market as a startup, you want to sell your product to customers, right, or clients, right? And so it's tempting to go direct to those clients and customers. But what you're saying is if you can engage the channel partners to introduce you to clients, reseller partners, your growth potential is exponentially bigger. And if you ignore that piece, you're just missing these growth opportunities, which your competitors could take advantage of, right? So what I hear you saying is taking the time to develop a strategy to say, here's my go-to-market strategy through the channel versus direct, or even by size of customer, you're going to get much farther and faster growth, right?
Correct. Spot on. Spot on. Much faster and more reliable growth. Now you have a system, as opposed to let's hope and spray with marketing ads, with messaging and things of that nature. What I've learned is, again, is how do you create fertile grounds for building trust, and number two, demonstrating competency. Because this is exactly what the customer is looking for. Can I trust this individual? And are they competent to deliver on my results? And that's what the channel is giving you the fertile grounds to do.
So let's say you're successful at your strategy and you're going through the channel, you're developing um, that those resellers, those relationships. What is the role of marketing in that? Is there any role for marketing, or you just gotta have a direct sales through the channel? Do you build your website? Do you develop email lists? Do you do digital advertising? Do you leverage content? Do you do SEO, or do you just say, what the heck? I'm just going to do the channel. All I need is maybe, you're the sales guy or you need one sales guy and you kind of go direct that way. When do you engage and what is the role of more traditional digital marketing tools in that strategy?
Yes. So I love that questions. You do not ignore digital marketing. Um, what you do is, again, look at your overall strategy. You invest and prioritize and say, hey, the go-to-market distribution partners are going to account for 50 to 60% of my marketing budget. If I'm going to do webinars or launch and learns or a conference, I'm going to spend hard dollars there because it's already fertile ground. I could also open it up to a bigger public and things of that nature. But you're using it as a launch pin to continue your branding and marketing activities. Um, And quite frankly, imagine you're doing a webinar now that you open up to the public, and now you have already three or five go-to-market channels where you've already built trust. You send that out to them. Now, this could create a network effect. If they're posting, reposting, engaging with the content, this allows you to amplify organically your marketing pursuits that are digital in nature.
Yeah. So you've got, and if you've got a channel already set up, you've got a natural set of people that are going to amplify all the marketing that you're doing. Talk to me about the strategy part of that. I just want to come back to that. How do you, as an entrepreneur, decide which are the best channels? In every market, you've been doing this for some time. Do you feel like there's one best distribution channel for that customer, that product, or are there many options to choose from, and you just need to choose the one that
I
is
love
gonna be
that. I
best at the
love
time, because I mean, like in some markets, it's resellers. In some
that.
markets, it's consultants. In some markets, but is there one best, or are there many channels that you could possibly engage with?
There are many channels. Leveraging just one channel, you would truly miss the market and the overall opportunity. Our market, over 122 billion. If I was solely basing it on go-to-market channels that are localized or fragmented, they still have a regional impact. I have a go-to-market channel in California, in Boston, in Florida, but it's still a regional effect. So you want to still amplify. So having and stacking your marketing tactics and strategies is where you get the real ROI. Again, perfect example. I'm going to do a webinar on a topic that seems to spark interest with my go-to-market channel when I did a workshop. Now, turning that workshop into a webinar, a paid webinar with a partner, an authority like the regulatory group or the FDA themselves. And that's going to really generate a lot of interest. And then part two, marketing is great, but also having a strong lead generation funnel and knowing, hey, I've from interest to a qualified lead to a sale, understanding the different levers and how you're going to remove risk for the customers, you're going to remove aversion for the customer, I truly believe is all part of the marketing umbrella.
Yeah, so you've got to have, it sounds like you're saying you've got to have a deep understanding of the funnel in addition to having a partner strategy that really works. And kind of you don't want to just have a partner strategy and hope for the best that all these partners are going to produce the leads. You're going to create systems and process to work with the partners to drive the leads that are going to go through your sales process. You got to think it all the way through. Yeah, that's that's very powerful. I want to ask you about the relationship between channel partners and ambition. Because one of the things that I do on the side is I teach a course at Boston College on business planning. And I have students that come in and they put together a business plan, and the first few weeks are all about strategy and market research. And then you get down to the numbers piece, like in week 6, and I have them say, well, how big is this going to be? What's your growth plan? And some of them last semester came back and said, in a year, I think I could generate well over $10,000 in revenue. And I'm like, maybe you should just get a part-time job, like because they just didn't have the ambition. And others are like
Right,
trying to build $100 million company. So,
right.
as I think, just with that example, how do you think about the relationship between your ambition, like you want to build $1 million enterprise, a $10 million enterprise, $100 million enterprise, $1 billion How do you think about your ambition and your channel strategy, and how do those
Yeah,
things work together?
that's a brilliant question. I love that. So, quite frankly, if your pursuit is $1 million, because quite frankly, anything less than that, I think it's a side hustle. It's not a scalable business if it's less than 1 million. Um, so if your pursuit's 1 million or above, 1 million to 10, I humbly don't think you need to go to market channels or partners. Um, Your time is better invested in doing direct sales, better invested in garnering interest, doing paid ads and things of that nature, just to remain relevant and top of mind to your customer. Now, as your ambition grows to, let's say, $100 million, not even 10, 100 million or above, if that's the goal, go to market partners and a mixture of different strategies and techniques becomes imperative to being successful. Um, and if you're a company, the last caveat is VC back or is VC backable and able to go to a billion and be a unicorn, then you need to build a sense of a community, a sense of an ecosystem, so that you can have a premium or first mover advantage in the market that you're trying to either enter or disrupt.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tell me about how you think about the people that it takes to execute a channel go-to-market strategy, especially as a startup. Does the CEO have to have the skills to be able to do that? Is it a CEO job, number one? Or can you hire for that, delegate for that? And maybe if you can in the beginning, when do you start to delegate that? Like, how big do you have to be where you could say, hey, now I've
Yeah.
got vice president of channel strategy. When does that happen? So how do you think about that? Again, is it CEO only job, you know, or
No,
can you
great
evolve?
question. Great question. I think before you prove it, I'm gonna take a little bit of a VC bet here. Before you enter product market fit, there's different figures out there, right? 3 million, 5 million, some even as low as a million, depending on the ACV of your what you're selling, the product or service you're selling. Once you've achieved product market fit, you could potentially delegate this down. But as an early stage startup, it it, it benefits you to have the CEO own that type of relationship. The CEO and founder is supposed to be the chief architect, the visionary that understands the value of what you're bringing and can pull to the heartstring. Because you need to incentivize, I think you were going there before, your go-to-market partners to want to be part of this big vision. The vision needs to be bold. And the person that founded or has the vision needs to be the one to be able to sell and get everybody to join in on the fun. That's what has worked for me. But as I'm growing right now, um, for instance, I am preparing a team to help me support this goal. This could be rendered to a chief of staff that fully understands your roles and your ambitions and the goal. It could be a chief revenue officer or a VP of sales as well, that could take this on as you continue to grow past product market fit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you've got to, as a CEO of a startup, you got to have the sales skills, but you've also got to have those channel strategy and those partner relationship skills. You got to understand like how partnerships work, how to create win-win scenarios, how to build the contract terms, how to keep it going, how to engage with them, build the relationship, but also the have the metrics for success. All of that stuff is necessary. Is it hard to do if you're like a 22-year-old CEO startup? I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like there's the advantage of experience, like you've been doing this for a long time, seeing how that works in big companies and what they need as you have. It seems like it gives you a lot of a leg up to understand how the partnership works. And now you're building the partnership program, you can execute it more naturally. I don't know. Do you feel like that your age
I,
and
I
experience give you the
yeah.
advantage there?
I have to echo the same. I have to echo the same. Having worked for the world's best companies, Danaher Corporation, there's no bigger player when it comes to M&A deals and things of that nature. So seeing the best of the best do it before definitely models that approach for me. So 100%, and building the credibility in the industry as a domain expert. I've been fortunate to have been doing this for 15 plus years, over 2 dozen products I've seen from idea to commercialization. So all of that definitely gives validation to these go-to-market partners that we're solving a real problem. We have deep domain expertise, and the ROI will be there at the end.
Yeah, so you've got the experience and the capability to put together a real strategy and have serious conversations with larger companies. Maybe this is a hypothesis. As a smaller company, maybe I'm sorry, not a smaller company, but as a young entrepreneur, let's say, maybe you're just out of college, you're starting that company. Maybe it's harder to have those blockbuster conversations with senior people, but maybe it's not. I guess maybe if you're delivering, like maybe come back to your early comment, if you're driving significant value, everybody listens, right? So
Everybody listens. Significant value. For example, I'm a top 40 under 40 WBJ awardee. So to some, they'll be okay, this person's still on the younger side. So if you're a 22-year-old just out of college and you have a bright idea, your advisory board, leverage that. Get some real domain experts that are well vetted, well decorated, and have them part of your advisory board. That will also get people to listen. Be the brilliance, but surround yourself with real experience. Because the experience always, quite frankly, outweighs the brilliance. When experience walks into the room, the rest of the room listens.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's clear that you've got experience, you're building a lot of value, you've got some good strategies in place. Tell me about what's next for your company. Like what stage are you with your company and where is that? What's the next stage where you're going?
Yeah, we're in an exciting stage right now with Quality Means Business, QMB Inc. We're securing the rest of our seed round. We're VC backed, which is quite exciting. And at this point in time, what we're really looking for is to hit and demonstrate product market fit, be able to uh, demonstrate the value of what we're bringing in democratizing regulatory intelligence, both for startups, mid-market, and then in the future, help large enterprise players, the Johnson and Johnsons, the Medtronics of the world, help them expedite remediation and make it really valuable for them.
Well, you're in a very exciting phase, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your experience and your go-to-market strategy. If people want to connect with you and learn more about your company and connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is to follow us on LinkedIn at www.qmb.ai. Our website is also available. And yeah, follow us on LinkedIn. Shoot me an inbound message, and we'll stay in touch.
Great. Well, Michelle, thank you again for this conversation. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.